Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Wonder Mother podcast. I'm your host, Jenna McRory. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited about our episode today. This is my very first mom friend coming on, Lindsay O'Brien. She had her daughter, Maddie, weeks before I gave birth to Frankie, who's my oldest son. And we went through our pregnancies together and everything together. And she's just a really dear friend of mine. She's also a baller. She's a lawyer. She's worked as a prosecutor and an equal opportunity and Title IX investigator and is now a contracts attorney. So love that. And Lindsay and I met before our pregnancies doing yoga. Lindsay's also a yoga teacher. We met at a fantastic hot yoga studio called Yoga Habit in Philly. Shout out. And we've kept up our practices, and I know Lindsay's been teaching ever since. And so we'll talk a little bit about how our yoga practice has affected our motherhood as well. So thank you for being here. Can't wait to dive in. Let's get to it. Lindsay, thank you so much for being here. Lindsay O'Brien is here with us today, and she's going to take us through her experience becoming a mom, and we're going to talk about career and raising children and all the good stuff. So thank you, Lindsay. Let's dive into before becoming moms. What were your expectations before becoming a mom?
I guess as far as becoming a mom goes, I feel like I'd spent my entire life trying not to get pregnant. And so, I figured I would just go off birth control and be pregnant immediately. And of course, it was not that easy. My husband and I have been together since we were 20 years old. We were at first very focused on getting our education, starting our careers, traveling, all of that. I kind of always knew in the back of my mind that I wanted to be a mom, but it was sort of on the back burner for a while. And then a few years into having a career, I started to try to figure out what changes do I need to make in my life to become a mom and have that, look the way that I want it to. At the time I was a prosecutor, which I felt wasn't going to be compatible with what I wanted motherhood to look like. So I started to look for jobs that would be a little more flexible, give me more work-life balance, time to be at home. Because my husband also is a trial attorney, and I knew that one of us was going to need to step away from that to be able to be more present at home when we had kids. So the next step I took from there was to start working in Title IX at a university. And that gave me a work from home day and, a little less work stress, at which point we started trying to get pregnant. And so we had one miscarriage initially, which, was really tough, and started to then see a fertility doctor, which, took some time. There was a chemical pregnancy, some other close calls like that. And then ultimately, I guess probably 2 years after we started trying, we did get pregnant, and it stuck. So yeah, we finally, after, 2 or 3 years, we had our daughter, Maddie, right around the same time that you had Frankie, which was awesome.
Yes. I did mention in our, in our intro that Lindsay is my very first mom friend. So this is super special because it's kind of 5 years later, and just we're on the journey of motherhood together.
And a lot has changed from them being little babies that couldn't move around very much to being full-blown people.
Yeah. Oh, it's so true.
in school every day.
Yeah, yeah, living their own life now. They're off having their own friends and okay, so I know you mentioned like I want to just go back to you mentioning like having some trouble getting pregnant. I don't know if I knew that, but I wanted to see like did you guys end up doing IVF or anything or it just kind of like
No,
eventually happened?
I was on like Clomid, I think, for like a year or so,
Okay.
which helped me to get pregnant.
Okay.
But ultimately we were able to get pregnant on our own.
Okay, amazing. Okay, cool. Love it. Um so then after you had Maddie, like I know we kind of all go into like were we doing birth classes together? Like I feel like I
We did.
remember us like doing the birth classes and all this prep right around birth. But it's true that, I mean, I did not think as hard as I probably should have about like the newborn phase and postpartum and stuff. Like what was your experience like, once you had Maddie and you're in the newborn phase and kind of navigating that?
Yeah, so I think you know that it's going to be hard having a baby, but you really don't know until the baby is there and you realize like how much they need from you, um, how little sleep you're getting, all of that. So yeah, I think it was hard, but at the same time, I was so grateful that she was here. That you know,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't. I was lucky enough not to have any like postpartum depression or anything like that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I will say that the breastfeeding piece of it was the hardest part for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I really had that societal pressure to like breast is best ingrained into me,
Mm-hmm.
and tried really hard to make it work for probably longer than I should have.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so ultimately, I think after 5 6 weeks, um, I gave myself permission to throw in the towel on breastfeeding, and then from there, it just everything became so much better.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like I just felt like myself again, and um,
Mm-hmm.
she was happier, and
Mm-hmm.
that was like a good turning point for us.
Oh, that's so good. I do remember I do remember that turning point and it's true. I do remember like just yeah, just you guys like being so much happier, you and Maddie. And I think it's so true that like if mom needs to be happy, right? If mom's happy, the baby's happy. And it's true that it's like, I think I've talked to a couple people and it's very similar scenarios where it's not really worth the mental anguish, on the mom to try to breastfeed, like if it's painful, then, you know,
Exactly, and I
there's
feel like
other
that
options.
it's just so different for everyone, and like you really have to do what's best for you
Yeah.
and your baby, and that
Yeah.
looks different for everyone.
Yeah.
Like compare it's
Yeah.
And of course, everyone I feel like compares themselves to the people around them and what they're doing. Um, but yeah, I would definitely to a first time mom give the advice that you need to do what's
Mhm.
best for you and your baby, and not worry about what other people are doing.
Yeah, totally agree. That's great advice. You figured out how to navigate through that tough like breastfeeding period. Um, which is great. Is there anything, like you wish you had known before or is there any like um I don't know, any piece of information like that you wish you had known before kind of experiencing all that?
Right. Um, I guess I would just wish people would have told me like your baby will be just fine if you switch to
Mm.
formula. Like there's no, if you can breastfeed, great. If not, like
Whatever.
forget
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
No.
not necessary.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's really important. We were talking about how like it's so true that when you're having the baby, it feels like there's very much a divide between breast and formula. And I remember like feeling that pressure as well, like you had to choose or something. And then I remember I was reading a blog and this woman was like, I mix, like I do both. And I was like, oh my God, you can do both. It felt like completely new information. So I ended up doing both with Frankie. Like when he started going back to daycare, I would supplement him with formula. And I felt like that was such a relief because it took the pressure off trying to supply every single like bit of his food. Um, so I just think like, yeah, it's important for women to know, like there's lots of avenues, or like, it doesn't
Totally.
have to
A
be
lot of
like
different
breast
ways to do things.
formula. Like
Yeah.
on that same note, what do you wish women knew about the transition to motherhood? Like even just as being a person who's now got this new role in their life.
Yeah. Um, I think I think I would tell them like, yeah, your life is going to look completely different. But that's not a bad thing. Like there are going to be a lot of great things that come along with being a mom. And then, you may just have to shift certain things around, um, other parts of your life. Um, and I think I would also just emphasize the importance of like finding great childcare, people that you can really trust to take care of your kids so that you can continue to keep up with the other things that are important to you in your life because
Mm-hmm.
like you need to stick with those things to be happy as a mom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is great advice. Yes, it's so true. Yes. The support is huge. Like
Totally.
having support.
Yeah. And I guess, yeah, if you have people in your life that are willing to give you that support, like let them for sure. And,
Mm-hmm.
and if you don't, like seek it out, like look for your community, people other moms that that you can spend time with your kids, childcare, like it takes a community, like takes a village for sure to raise kids. So find your village basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So now too, like I know um you are close to both you and uh Kevin's family. So tell
Yeah.
us sort of more about like what support network you have in place for your family.
Yeah. So we used to live in Philadelphia where you lived.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about like 40 minutes away from where our parents live. And so that was totally fine for when we had Maddie. We still saw them a lot. But when we were having our second, we made the decision to move back out to the suburbs to be closer to our parents, um, and to just have more space and all of that. Um, but yeah, now we are lucky enough to have my mom, his mom, my dad, all within like 15 minutes of us. So they're all a huge part of my kids' life.
Mm-hmm.
My kids spend a lot of time with them. And then we also have an au pair who lives with us, who's a huge part of their life.
Mm-hmm.
um, and we have another great babysitter who we use like pretty much every Saturday, to when we have other things going on and when we have events, things like that. So yeah, we're lucky enough to have a really great childcare situation in place that we're both able to do everything that we need to career wise and to
Mm-hmm.
keep up with the things that we're passionate about,
Mm-hmm.
um, and feel that the kids are going to be just fine without us when we are doing those things.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, Tell us about how, because I feel like, I think the au pair is such a great, decision and choice, but it's not something you hear about a lot. So I'd love to talk about like how you found that as an option and like what your experience is like with that.
Yeah, absolutely. We decided to get an au pair shortly after my son, Mikey, was born. Because I guess after he was born, we kind of realized like we really need like a good childcare situation at this point because we're working full time.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter was going to daycare, but we needed a good childcare situation for him as well as help during off hours because like I said earlier, my husband's a trial attorney. He sometimes works really late hours, especially if has a trial going on. He travels a few times a year for trials, depositions, things like that. So an au pair just seemed like kind of a natural decision for us. We, luckily have an extra bedroom. So I started to explore that option and there's a few different agencies you can go through. We went through Au Pair in America, and I just started interviewing people from like all over the world via FaceTime, just like this.
Wow.
And we got our first au pair in like March of two Marches ago.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was great because it's like they can have a flexible schedule. They live with you. They can help you out on the weekends when needed. And it's just consistent childcare. It's somebody that basically becomes a part of the family. It's not, they understand how things work with your kids. They, there's not that like learning curve that you have with new babysitters that come in. So yeah, we love it. Our first au pair, did not end up staying for a full year. That one was a bit of a bumpy road, but
Okay.
the au pair that we have now is absolutely wonderful. She's from Brazil, and she's great with the kids. They love spending time with her, and she just really fits in with our family seamlessly. So yeah, we got super lucky, and she's going to be staying with us for another year, so 2 years in total. Which is just a huge relief for me to like not have to like think about
Yeah.
where we're getting childcare for the next year.
Yeah, totally. I think it's so great. So one question I have about it is, so do they have like basically like a set hour, like they're going to work for you this many hours, but then like you said, it's flexible. So like, obviously if the kids are at daycare or whatever, they're off. But then say you're like, I really need you at dinner time. Like, so every day they're kind of like on duty at dinner.
Yeah,
Like,
I think it's different for every family, but the way that we have it worked out with our current au pair is that she does have a regular schedule.
okay.
Monday to Friday, there's like specific hours that she works.
Mm-hmm.
But then, if we're traveling for a week or something like that, and we bring her with us,
Mm-hmm.
that week the schedule maybe is a little bit different because we're out of our normal routine. Different things are happening,
Mm-hmm.
um, or yeah, if we have a need to change up the schedule every so often because of something different going on that week,
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
can. I would certainly like talk to her in advance and let her know what's going on and make sure she's okay with it too. But
Mm-hmm.
there definitely is flexibility there.
Yeah, that's really cool. I just love that. I feel like we're not thinking enough about this option. This is such a great option.
Yeah,
um,
and it's great for them too. You know,
yeah.
Luana loves being here and wants to ultimately stay after
Oh,
uh,
cool.
her au pair years are over. So
Amazing.
it's a cool opportunity for a cultural exchange.
Yeah, yeah, totally. I'm like, oh, I want one. I can't afford one, but I want one. Um, okay, so we're talking about like, how important that support network is, how important your childcare is. I mean, what do you think are the biggest challenges for women now having children, like in modern times?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's that pressure to do it all, right? To be like the career mom who has this amazing career, but also like is absolutely on top of everything for their kids, cooking home cooked meals and everything. Like there's like
Yeah.
this, you know, idea that women can do all of these things. And it's like, but we're only one person. Like, you know, how am I supposed to do all of this?
Right.
So, I think that's where having good childcare comes in, and can help with that, but it's still hard.
Yeah, yeah. No, it is true. I do feel like we have to like kind of like reframe how we're thinking of like a mother's role, especially now that women are working and everything. Like, it's true. Like, you just can't do all the things. Like it's too much for one person. I did post something yesterday that like, a mother should be making $140,000 a year, like with all the things
I
she
saw
does, like
that.
a
Yeah.
stay-at-home mom,
Hmm.
cleaning, kids, whatever. And I feel like that's so true and it probably should be more, but like uh it's kind of like not is it called invisible labor? It's like all this labor that's kind of invisible in a way. Um
Totally.
so do you feel then that there is a way for women to balance all of that? Like is there a kind of like I know we talked about childcare, but is there a way to balance all of it? Or is it just kind of like an impossible task that we have to rethink?
Yeah, I think that there is. Like if you have the right childcare set up, and you're organized, like I think
Mm-hmm.
planning is a huge part of that. And just I don't know. I'm like crazy with like my to-do lists, my calendar, like having reminders on my calendar, like for all of the things that I need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I think if you are organized and you have childcare in place, then you can keep up with all of the things that are important as a working mom.
Mm-hmm. I love that you were saying that you use also tech to help you. Like you rely on your reminders or like, things you can kind of set up and automate, so that
Yeah.
you can like then follow through with what you have to do. I feel like that's a good kind of hack. I mean, not everyone is maybe up on that sort of like they're not maybe as tech savvy, but I think that's a really good hack. Um,
Yeah, I feel like the more you
cool.
can use technology to help you stay organized with all of these things, all these competing obligations, like absolutely. Um, like I recently discovered it's like the list function on your iPhone where you can create lists. And so I have like my grocery list on my iPhone. You can just like
Mm.
talk into my phone and say, "Hey Siri, add milk to the grocery list." So it's like
Ooh. Whoa.
one of
Game
those
changer.
one of those little hacks that's like,
I
it
love it.
helps to lessen the mental load, right? Like
Yes. Yes.
as soon as you
Yeah.
see something's missing, put it on that list, and then I always have the list with me when I'm out.
Yes. No, I think this is great. You could be driving and adding things to your grocery list. This is fantastic.
Exactly.
I mean, it is those little things though that really make a big difference, to like how your life is functioning. Like you said, the organization, the order. Um, so tell us what are some of your favorite things about being a mom? Like what are some of the things that have surprised you, pleasantly surprised you about becoming a mom?
Yeah. I think it's just the fun that comes along with being a mom. Like, it forces you to get off of your phone and like get outside with your kids, like do ridiculous like things with them that just to make them laugh. And then just being able to just watching them grow up and develop their own little personalities is priceless.
Yeah, it is really interesting. It's true to see like what they kind of get into or like what they gravitate towards as they get older. Super fun. And like you said, like, it does kind of make you more engaged with the world because you want to create memories for them, right? Like you're more, it is, at least in my own experience, I feel like it is so fun to like, if there's something going on in the weekend that's like a kid's thing, it's like, I'll try and take them. It gets you like kind of out of the house and engaged more.
Exactly. And like at the ages that they are, 2 and 5 right now, everything is exciting to them, right? So
Right.
like even it's not exciting for me to go to Target. For them, like that, the Target run is going to like be like the most fun thing we did all day.
That's right. That's right. They're like, Target. I know Frankie loves Target too. We don't have Target here, so it's very sad for me because I actually do love Target. But I know what you mean. When you're getting your groceries, it's like whatever. But yeah, for the kids, so many fun things in Target. So I saw a video, like, and one of the reasons I started this podcast is I saw this video on BBC that was kind of like these women from around the world talking about kind of motherhood being on the decline, like less and less people choosing it. And I feel like motherhood's definitely not for everyone, right? But, what do you want to say to someone who's maybe on the fence or like wants to have a baby but's uncertain or, like why is being a mom so wonderful?
I would just say that being a mom is the best job there is. Like it's the most rewarding job, hands down. So even though I'm passionate about other things like teaching yoga and having a career, nothing compares to the joy that being a mom gives you, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And just the joy that watching them grow up gives you.
Yeah. No, that's true. I do want to talk about our yoga, just like really briefly. So Lindsay and I are both, I guess, yogis. But Lindsay's been teaching for a really long time, 6 years, 7 years.
10,
And how long?
I think like more like 10.
Oh, see, John, I'm off, but I knew it was a long time. And we met actually at a local yoga studio, which was a great place. Yoga Habit in Philly. Go if you're in Philadelphia. It's wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
How has your yoga practice affected being a mom? Like, how has that influenced your motherhood?
I mean, just in general, I feel like yoga is like my calm, my peace. Like it's like something that I need in my life to just give my brain a break. And with becoming a mom, I think that that's even more needed. Especially with just the mental load that we've been talking about, like giving yourself the time to step away from that and do something that gives your mind a break, I think is so important. So yeah, it's something that I've kept up with throughout my whole like both of my pregnancies, and since then. And even though it's always looked different, like in pregnancy, it was prenatal or yin yoga or even just meditating. Whereas now, and in the past, it's like a hot, sweaty yoga class. I just think it's so important to have that outlet in one form or another, at least for me, as a way of taking a step back, giving myself a minute to process and just step away from all of the things.
So now Lindsay and I are going to do some fun questions, which I love because we get to learn more about Lindsay and maybe some fun inspo, even for your day from our guest. So our first question is, what is your go-to coffee order?
Yeah, an iced vanilla oat milk latte, which usually I just make at home, but I would probably get the same thing if I went to Starbucks.
All right. Ooh, you make it at home. I love this.
Oh yeah,
Um,
Nespresso
do
for
you
the
have a
win.
favorite? Do you have a favorite coffee brand? Like
Oh,
when you make it at home?
Nespresso. We have a Nespresso
Oh,
machine.
Nespresso. Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Nespresso is
it's just
so
like
good.
so easy and so good. I think it's
Yeah,
better than Starbucks.
I agree. I feel like the Nespresso
Mhm.
machine is like it's better than the other things. What is your favorite weekday meal?
Um, Probably just like salmon with an easy marinade, like some kind of potato or salad or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love that too, actually. What is your favorite way to spend the weekend?
There's got to be some yoga in there, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
There's got to be a good dinner, whether it's going out to dinner or like cooking something fancy at home. And by that I mean my husband is like our cook, so he would be the one cooking.
Yeah.
And then some kind of an outing with friends and their kids, like depending on the time of year it is, like there's
Yep.
like a carnival or festival or whatever. Just like
Yep.
getting out and doing something with friends and other kids.
Yep.
You got to get those kids out.
100%. You got to get them out. Definitely. I totally agree. And with other kids, they also need to like play with other kids. Do you have any mom hacks like that you swear by? Make your life easier?
Yeah. Yeah. So my big one this year that I started like a month ago is having like a meal schedule. So every like Monday through Friday at least, like there's like
Mhm.
Mondays are seafood, like usually it's like salmon or some kind of like
Mhm.
a white fish. Tuesdays are like a taco Tuesday.
Mhm.
Wednesday is, I think it's either like a salad, some kind of salad with a protein, um, or like a burger and like sweet potato fries. Thursday
Mhm.
is like some kind of pasta with like a veggie and protein, and then Friday is like our takeout night. But yeah, just like having that meal schedule in place, it's like one less thing to think about. Like I feel like I've just been huge on
Yeah.
trying to reduce the mental load however I can,
Yep.
and that has been a game changer. Like I don't have to think about what I'm cooking for dinner. Like I'm just gonna
Yep.
make sure that over the weekend that we have those ingredients already, and we're
Yep.
making those things.
Yeah, no, I love it. Yes, love it. I feel like these are great hacks with the meal, and you also gave us the Siri like list hack. I feel like anyone who's listening, your life is about to get easier around food and dinner. Um, okay, so on that same note, what's the best meal you've eaten in the last 2 months?
Yeah, I feel like that's a hard decision because I have had a lot of good
Mm.
meals, but
Mhm.
I'm going back to the New Year's Eve dinner that my mom made, which was this steak with this really good creamy mushroom sauce and roasted potatoes and asparagus with like Parmesan and
Mm.
spices. It's from Half Baked Harvest. If you follow them on Instagram,
Okay, at Half
her
Baked
recipes are
Harvest.
awesome, and this one was really good.
Okay, I'm gonna link that suggestion in the description box
Yeah,
for anyone who wants to check that recipe out. I'm gonna check that out. That sounds amazing. Dan would love that recipe. Um,
yeah, Obi loved it.
yeah, did it? Yeah, yeah. Steak is so good. What is your go-to way to make your kids laugh?
It's like obvious, but just they're both very ticklish, so there's a
Yeah,
lot of tickling that happens in our
yeah.
house.
They love to be tickled. Oh, so damn cute. Um, a bucket list travel. Like, where do you want to go? Bucket list.
Yeah, I feel like there's so many places, but Um,
I know.
I feel like the Greek islands has been on my list for so long that I need to get there at some point and see that in real life.
Yeah, maybe soon. I feel like, I don't know, sooner than later. Maybe just
We'll
you and
see.
OB. See if,
Exactly. Yeah.
right? Fine, I
Hmm.
love this. Fave celeb style icon.
Yeah. So this one was hard. I feel like I don't like really follow celeb fashion, but if I
Hmm.
had to choose someone, I would say Taylor Swift just because I'm obsessed with her. And so if she's wearing it, I would probably wear it if I can pull it off.
Yes, yes. I know Taylor Swift she's amazing. She looked great at the Grammys. Did you watch the Grammys?
No, I did not
Oh, okay. All right. Don't
have.
worry about it.
Sorry, I'm like not
Doesn't
up on
matter.
fashion
Not
like you.
important. Not
You're-
important. You can Google her outfit.
I
What are
will.
you wearing? What are you wearing every day this winter? What are you personally wearing every day?
Yeah, so I work from home, so I wear like yoga pants and crew neck sweaters every day. But right now, because I live in Philadelphia, I'm wearing my Eagles sweatshirt because we're recording this a few days
Yeah.
before the Super Bowl.
Woo,
And
woo, woo,
was
woo.
I was like the only person in Philadelphia with no Eagles stuff, but I luckily was able to acquire some gear
Perfect timing. Thank God.
just in time.
Yes, just in time for them to win. Hopefully they win because that will be really fun. It is really
Yeah,
fun when Philly's
a
team
parade would be
wins.
a lot of fun.
Yeah, that would be so fun. Um, and what is the best advice you've ever received?
So right now I'm reading Mel Robbins' Let Them, and yeah,
Mhm.
the whole book is just really resonating with me, and I keep like having to remind myself of it. So basically, the premise is just like focusing less on what others are doing to find more
Mhm.
peace in your own life and your relationships. Um,
Mhm.
and I feel like it's much easier said than done,
Mhm.
but yeah, I think it's like a really good thing to have in the back of your memory and in the back of your mind. And
Mhm.
when someone does something or says something that gets under your skin, remind yourself, let them, you know, let me focus on
Right.
me and they can do whatever they want to do.
Yeah. No, it is. It is so powerful. I also am a huge Mel Robbins fan and feel like I'm very excited about this book she's put out. I haven't read it yet, but I've been following her like Instagram podcast and yeah, she just yeah, it sounds like it's yeah, like a relief basically for most people.
Yeah. And you can listen to it on Audible, and she's the one
Oh, okay.
it, so highly recommend. I am
Yeah.
not good about reading actual books, but Audible books help me out.
Yeah, yeah. No, you're totally right about that. I feel like since I had kids, like the actual act of reading a book is so difficult, but if you can listen to it, it's achievable. So,
Exactly.
yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. Thank you, Lindsay. We did it.
Woohoo! Thanks for having
Yeah.
me.
Thank you so much for coming on, for sharing your time, your wisdom, your experience. It's just so
Of
great.
course.
Thank you.
So good to
Um,
talk to you.